Over the summer, NPR's Margot Adler noticed a new computer game that seemed to be captivating people of all ages. Although the game was rated mature for 17-year-olds and older, everyone from the engineers at work to the mathematician down the hall to the fourth-grade boys in her son's school seemed to be obsessed, and she wondered why.
When Diablo 2 hit the stores last July with a retail price of about $50, it sold 184,000 copies during a single day. In less than a month, Blizzard Entertainment had sold more than 1 million copies of the role-playing game. Diablo 2 has been at or near the top of the bestseller list of computer games since it came out. At first, it's hard to say what makes Diablo 2 so addictive. It's not the graphics, which are old hat. Matt Grayson is a former mathematics professor who now models financial derivatives for an investment bank on Wall Street. But this summer, as he and his wife Barbara waited for the birth of their new baby, he found himself spending hours, days, his wife insists, playing Diablo 2. It's hard to know how much time, he says. Time just disappeared.
You're always looking for that next thing. You're going to get a better magic item or weapon or armor or a new spell or a new ability, or something is always just about to happen. And that puts you in this kind of anticipatory trance, and you can't break out of that. Put that way, it sounds sort of
like drug addiction.
Like drug addiction.
Some games are difficult puzzles, but this is more like Myst, says Matt.
Myst wasn't difficult, but Myst was immersive, and you always wanted to see what would happen next, what would happen if I did this differently.
My apartment is on the same floor as Matt Grayson's. One afternoon, 4 kids are sitting around 2 computers. The oldest, Daniel Hertzroythe, is 12. He's playing as the Paladin, one of 5 possible characters. His brother Zach, age 9, is half watching and, amazingly, also doing his homework. My own son Alex looks over Daniel's shoulder as Daniel begins to play, explaining everything as he goes. Daniel Hertzroythe.
You go through many levels in many different acts, which are kind of like bigger versions of the levels, to try and, well, in the end, kill Diablo. Who is this giant monster. And you face many monsters along the way.
Why is it so great? Why is it different than a lot of other games?
Okay. Well, it draws you in very well. It's sort of a mix of stuff. It's a mix of adventure and action.
And the action doesn't let up.
Daniel is in the Arcane Sanctuary, and in this place, he is trying to find a boss called the Summoner. Oh, by the way, you're close to the Summoner. I know. That shaking means that. It does? Okay, yeah. Yeah, you're almost there. Oh my God, look at that. That's him. I'm going back. See that huge fireball? Yeah. That was him.
Who is that winged creature?
That's a wraith. There was either a lightning trap or the Summoner. That was lightning trap. Upstairs, the Summoner.
There are levels to attain, weapons, magical gems, and potions to find and trade. Characters change depending on their levels or on the stuff they acquire. And talking to Jeff Green, executive editor of Computer Gaming World magazine, I say it seems to be a perfect mirror of our consumer society.
It's a very primal thing, I think, Diablo. It's basically, it boils down to you're bashing stuff to be able to get cool stuff, you know.
So
and
it's sort of fighting and shopping.
Fighting and shopping, exactly. 2 of our most, fundamental needs. And once you go shopping and you get your better armor and your better weapons, then you go out and you bash bigger monsters, and then you get bigger toys.
Fighting and shopping, not what you want your kid doing after school, although it's probably what most of human history has been about. But the game's appeal is also due to the seemingly infinite combinations possible. Matt Grayson, the mathematician, says it never gets boring. For him, it's a solitary pleasure, but for the kids who play with each other or team up with strangers over the Internet, it is intensely cooperative.
Oh, Dad! Item. Run for it! This has to be the right way. No, it doesn't have to. Sometimes? Doesn't have to be the right way. Yes, for process of elimination, it has to be the right way. No, it could be down.
Robert Nideford teaches at the University of California, Irvine campus, where he is designing an interdisciplinary program in gaming studies. He says stereotypes about gaming and gamers are rife in our culture.
The kind of misperception that these games alienate you or isolate you from other people, that they lock you in front of a screen and prevent you from having sort of substantive social interaction with other folks, when in fact many of them are, I think, exactly the opposite of that.
They are intensely social spaces, he says. Blizzard Entertainment has been so successful in making computer games, you wonder what's their secret. One of their games, StarCraft, sold more than 1 million copies in South Korea, where it is more popular than Pokemon. The U.S. military uses StarCraft to teach strategy. Jeff Green of Computer Gaming World magazine says the company is totally immersed in geek culture. To give an example, he says, they closed their whole company down one day so everyone could go to the movies and see the re-release of the original Star Wars trilogy. Bill Roper, one of the developers of Diablo 2, says he can think of one key to Blizzard's success.
One of the things that we do at Blizzard is we only hire game players. So it's not just an artist who's going to go and make this creepy, crawly monster that's going to run around in a dungeon. He's also played a ton of games, and so when he thinks of the conceptions that he's going through to make this actual unit in the game, he also has a good idea of gameplay and what might be fun for this monster to do.
Roper is 35 in a business where the median age is about 28. Jeff Green says the lesson of Diablo 2 is that you don't need bells and whistles or cutting-edge graphics to create a best-selling game. And yet, Green does not play Diablo 2 in front of his 6-year-old daughter because, he says, it's too violent.
I mean, it's fantasy violence. There's no blood. There's certainly way worse games than Diablo 2, much worse in terms of the content. But the bottom line is I can't play this game in front of my kid because I can't justify it to her as a 6-year-old. You know, maybe as an 8-year-old I will be able to, but at this point I don't feel like she's ready to see that this stuff exists yet.
The violence in Diablo 2 feels remote. It's not like a first-person shooter. You float above the scene as if in a flying dream. How about the violence, I ask the kids. My own son cringes at violent movies when they involve people, not cartoons. The kids say, it's a game, it's not real. That's the difference, as if it was perfectly obvious. Margot Adler, NPR News, New York.
This is Morning Edition from NPR News. I'm Bob Edwards.